What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. Now, you guys could probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we're now seeing trouble in paradise for California's Governor Gavin Newsom, as he is now facing some serious legal trouble on all fronts, to say the least, guys. And I'm excited to get into this one. So without further ado, let's hop straight into today's update.
So what do you think about all this hospice fraud? Sir, you're in the Cybertruck, driving away, taking money from old people. Yet he's just driving away in his Cybertruck, won't even answer any questions. Let's see, we have another rich person as well that's getting rich off this hospice.
Bad hospice.
This guy's leaving as well. So the two people that walked out of Holy Angels, they're in a brand new Cybertruck and a new BMW. How lucrative of a business is hospice? I'm seeing a Cybertruck here in a nice BMW. It's good? Yeah, because it looks like, for instance, Guardian of Angels, that used to be here, $4.8 million they billed the state of California. And how many clients do you guys have?
Brother, do you have a badge? Do I need to answer your question?
I'm just curious.
It's not mine. I just work.
Yeah. You must be getting paid pretty well, right?
Bro, this is my parents, bro. Come on.
Do your parents run the hospice?
They don't work.
No. Who's that guy in the Cybertruck?
He's my uncle.
He's your uncle. So it's like a family business to own the hospices.
Not us.
But why was he walking out of the hospice then too?
Brother, can you leave me alone?
Like these hospices, there's nothing inside of them.
If it's not you guys, how come you're in the newest BMW and the newest Cybertruck?
Brother, because
I can only imagine what the guy who's in charge is
because of hospice. Brother, leave me alone.
Just all the other hospices? Do you like taking care of old people? Like, are you the one going out visiting the hospice patients, sir? Uh-oh, he's gonna have to do another point turn.
Yeah, you guys are in my fucking way. Move.
Well, you could just go that way. What's the key to opening up a hospice if I wanted to open up one? Because you're in the family business of hospices. If I want to open my own. What do you do for work here?
Huh?
What do you do for work here?
Why?
Oh, we're just looking around. We're seeing all these hospices, so we're just curious.
Well, I don't know, man.
Word got out that I was inside of the plaza and all the fraudsters started hopping in their cars, leaving the scene.
Excuse me. Let's see if they can just answer our questions really quick. Hello, can we ask you a quick question? Driving out in a brand new M8. They can't get out that easy. How can I get an M8 as well? Should I open up a hospice? Driving out in a brand new M8 BMW M8 competition. Listen to this thing. This is the sound of hospice money. And this is the guy who said he's fat because of Dr. Oz. His business is not open today. Seems like this mafia right here is naming all of their companies after the word angel. We have Angels of Valley Hospice. We have Angels of Haven, Angels of Peace, Light of Angels. Yet the BMWs, one right here, one right there, two brand new Mercedes over there. It just is unbelievable the amount of money that these people are making, and they're not even trying to hide it. Buying these luxury cars, each and every single person's wearing some sort of designer clothing as well. And this building looks like it used to be some sort of old motel that has turned into some cash grab, money grab for hospices here. Would you like to give any last statement about what's going on here?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Because it seems like it was pretty good family business. Another guy just pulled out in the M8 competition.
Good for them, bro. Why are you guys pocket watching, bro? Leave the fucking people alone.
Because this is taxpayers' dollars that are paying for all this stuff.
Hold on one second, guys. And you know, I usually don't pause the clips, but I just want to point out one thing. It looks like we're seeing a repeat of what we've seen in Minnesota with the Quality Learning Center. Missing the N off the end of learning here, we have Holly Angels of LA with 2 L's, not Holy Angels, but Holly Angels. I just wanted to know if you guys were catching that one right there, but let's get back into it. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Why are you guys pocket watching, bro? Leave the fucking people alone.
Because this is taxpayers' dollars that are paying for all this stuff.
Okay. What the fuck is he doing? That ass just working, bro.
With taxpayers' dollars receiving money from Medicare, Medicaid, Medi-Cal, you name it. And it just seems like a lot of people are getting rich off of
busy, bro. I have work.
The death of old people. What do you do for work here?
Oh, bro. Right.
It's sad to think about it. Here in the United States, we're literally being defrauded by people who are taking advantage of old people, young people in daycares, disabled people with autism clinics, and no one's doing anything to stop it. So I think it's time we stand up to these fraudsters and tell them, let them know, you are stealing from everyday American citizens. People can't afford homes, rents are expensive, their insurance is expensive, everything's getting more and more expensive, and if we don't crack down on this fraud, national debt's going to continue going up. This is just one of the factors that affects the national debt, and we're going to lose the value of our own dollar. So people, if they want to really fight to keep America great, a great way to do it is by fighting fraud, because this is just unbelievable. You have people who drive around in BMWs, M8 competitions, Mercedes. Meanwhile, everyday American citizens are struggling to be able to afford their own bills.
All right, folks, so we see it. Nick Shirley, our friend, is back on the streets, but this time he's in LA. Gavin Newsom's California. Nick Shirley confronting people walking out of a dilapidated California hospice center. And I think dilapidated is kind of an understatement for the facilities that they were operating in. I mean, this is clearly some abandoned motel. It's been turned into a fraudulent scheme, facility. This is what they do here. You could just tell by the way you see the parking lot. Not many patient cars out there. Let's just say that. I mean, you see the providers are driving around these fancy luxury cars, ranging anywhere from $50,000 up to $150,000, $200,000. Absolutely insane for someone who is supposed to be helping out, helping the community. This is supposed to be hospice healthcare centers. Is it that many people that are on their last leg in California? I refuse to believe it that Nick Shirley just reported that they revealed and uncovered over or close to $200 million worth of fraud in just that little motel plaza. This is absolutely insane, off the charts. And now after seeing this one, folks are saying that Minnesota fraud is chump change when compared to what we're seeing in Gavin Newsom's California. Now, I want to flip over because it turns out that hospice and healthcare fraud isn't the only fraud problem in California or what they're dealing with. I want you guys to drop in the comments section what you're thinking about this next.
Investigating possible ballot fraud caught on camera after a viral video appears to show people in San Francisco being paid cash to sign campaign petitions with fake names. Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is reporting out of LA on that for us. Hi, William.
Hey, Sandra, what I'm about to show you is one reason people don't trust the election system. Long line, mostly homeless, getting $5 to sign election petitions. Not only is that illegal, they're also being asked to commit fraud by impersonating other voters hundreds of miles away.
Hey, what's the line for sign a petition?
Shut up! Don't say nothing no more.
They get $5 to sign a petition. They get $25? $5. $5. Okay.
So the guy who shot this says hundreds signed these petitions. No one reportedly asked for an ID, nor were they told what they were signing.
I get $5 too?
Yeah.
And what is it?
Just sign it.
Just sign it?
Yeah. You ready now? First name is going to be Carol. Last name is...
Yeah, that was the name of a 81-year-old woman living elsewhere. So under California law, the state says it's illegal to give money or other consideration or exchange for an initiative petition. It's also a crime to circulate any petition known to include forged names. In this case, they wanted signatures for two upcoming measures, one fighting a billionaire tax, the other pension reform.
Signature gatherers can get paid. That's pretty standard practice. But when you start paying individual people for their signatures, especially people who are down and out in their luck, that's borderline on criminal, in my opinion.
So now campaigns pay about $15 for every signature. So when you do the math here, they're clearing about $25 for every person, Sandra.
Come on now, you guys. What did I say? You can't even say I didn't warn you because I told you this was big. What Nick Shirley just uncovered in California, in addition to what all the other investigators are now revealing, fraud is off the charts in Gavin Newsom's California, guys. But wait. There's even more categories of fraud that California is currently dealing with. And this next provider decided to call the police when our friend Nick Shirley showed up to her so-called child care facility asking a bit of questions.
Here is Hayden Sarah Family Child Care. This is a daycare right here. Apparently they have 14 children enrolled. Tell us a little bit more about this daycare right here. We're in the middle of the hills here in San Diego.
So according to state records, when inspectors arrived here, there were 14 kids enrolled but 0 present. And then this place was also cited for having missing children's records and also not having a facility roster.
It's kind of weird that there's this daycare in the middle of a neighborhood. Hello?
I was naked, okay?
No, you weren't.
I can sue you. I was like, I wasn't dressed up. I'm Muslim.
Either way, can we enroll a child into the daycare?
You don't know what's going on.
Well, it says there's 14 children enrolled here on the state of California.
All right.
It says there's 14 children enrolled here.
You don't care.
I do care. Then where are the children?
You don't care.
Where are the children at?
It's not enough, Minnesota. You come here.
Where are the children at? Where are the children at, ma'am? All right, so what she's doing is she's making a video right now. She's gonna send it out all to all the other daycares. But at the end of the day, enrolled for 14 children, no children here. And this is from the state of California. We're not targeting Somalian population. We're just going after daycares. And it just so happens to be that all the daycares, they are Somalian so far. Where are the children at, ma'am? 14 children. Would you like to make a statement as to where the children are?
You don't care where is my children are.
Ma'am, we would not be here if we weren't asking you.
You don't care. You don't care.
What do you mean we don't care? This is why we're here.
Care. And don't record me. You don't care.
This is why we're here, to ask about these daycares.
Ask me who you are. Who you are.
My name's Nick Shirley. You already know that.
Shirley. I know, but you a trouble man.
How are we making trouble? You're causing trouble.
Let me call 911.
We just want to know where the children are.
No, I'm calling 911.
For what?
To you.
For what?
You come to my house.
We haven't done anything.
I don't know.
The problem with these daycares is that they receive money through a program called CalWorks, but as you see, there are no children actually there. These fraudsters are simply enrolling children on paper to receive government subsidies. Even after the state visits these daycares and confirms there are no children actually there, the government and the state continue to give these daycares money.
When I initially seen this one, I said, you have to be kidding me. There is no way they're finding more Somali fraud, this time out of the state of Minnesota and in Gavin Newsom's California, and it's right there in that same vicinity of a child health care. These so-called daycare providers are, just defrauding the taxpayers. They're stealing so much money. This woman didn't even want to open the door. She's saying that she was undressed. And it just doesn't make sense because this is, during operational hours. It's supposed to be kids. This is supposed to be a child care facility after all. You're telling me that you're undressed and were unable to come to the door? What if this was one of the kids' parents at the door? What are you going to do then? It just doesn't make sense, other than the fact that these folks are committing blatant and brazen fraud. Now, that woman isn't the only person that's losing their mind because of our friend Nick Shirley's great work. You guys have to see Governor Gavin Newsom's response to what Nick Shirley is now doing in his state. I'm just going to flip right over. So we got this tweet coming from Gavin Newsom's press office. This was just 2 days ago, March 16th, and he posted this meme. He says, "This is Nick Shirley right now." And he posted this picture that says, "Hey, can I see your kids?" See this guy with a bunch of cameras at a daycare. And I feel like this really does minimize the great work that Nick Shirley is doing. He's trying to, once again, in typical Democratic fashion, paint the good guy as the bad guy. And we're not going to allow that to happen. We know what Nick Shirley did in Minnesota. Great work, covering millions and millions of dollars in fraud. Now he's doing it in your state, and you're attacking him for no reason. And of course, our friend Nick Shirley responded to this, saying, "You do realize I'm trying to help America eliminate fraud and waste, right? No need to try and make me look like the bad guy for exposing fraud. People are over it. Start working for the people and not against them." And I mean, come on now. Amen, Nick Shirley. That's exactly what we want to see. We don't care what Gavin Newsom's tweeting out here. He's just trying to save his tail at this point, is what it seems to me. Now, here's where things are really heated up, and a legal action against Governor Gavin Newsom came into play. We'll flip over this next one. So this guy responded to Nick Shirley's tweet. Paul Morrow says, "Sue Gavin Newsom personally in the state of California for defamation. You are doing a legitimate journalistic investigation. Gavin Newsom appears to be characterizing you as a PDF about the worst thing you can call someone. And while the sitting governor, sue him," in big cap letters. And Nick Shirley responded to this with 3 crucial words, saying, "Thinking about it now, this right here does not look good for Gavin Newsom, first and foremost, Nick Shirley has came in and exposed what's really been going on behind the curtains of California. Now you're looking at some legal action against you and your state in many different facets. This is why I said that Gavin Newsom has it coming for him on all different fronts. And I just believe that one way or another, these fraudsters will be held accountable, especially what we seen President Donald Trump doing just the other day. So President Donald Trump signed an executive order creating an anti-fraud task force with Vice President J.D. Vance. Check this one out, and then I'll give you guys my full reaction on the back end.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. This is a very big thing that we're doing. It's about fraud, having to do with all the fraud that's taking place in our country. And we have two people that are extremely brilliant and just very talented, and they're going to be put in charge. But I'd like to ask Will, if you would, to give a little description of what we're signing, the executive order, and then I'll ask JD to speak.
Yes, sir. As you stated in your State of the Union address, in light of widespread revelations of fraud in federally funded programs in states like Minnesota and California, this executive order in front of you will establish a new task force aimed at rooting out that fraud, returning potentially billions or tens of billions or even hundreds of billions of dollars to the American taxpayer. This task force will be chaired by the Vice President. The Vice Chairman will be the head of the FTC, Andrew Ferguson, who's with us here as well today. But this is going to launch a whole-of-government approach to rooting out the very serious problem of fraud in federally funded programs around the country.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness, this thing is seriously heating up for Gavin Newsom of California. It's not looking good for him whatsoever. I mean, this is Minnesota on steroids when it comes to discovering and exposing this waste, fraud, and abuse. Folks taking advantage of the taxpayers' dime, and it just does not look good whatsoever. I mean, what we're seeing so far from Nick Shirley is blatant fraud. There's no way around this. You can't even say, oh, there's somewhat running a legitimate business. Though this is a full-on front for a fraudulent operation. I mean, that motel said it all. You see, there were so many different so-called hospice centers where folks are supposed to go, their end-of-life care. And I'm just looking around this plaza, I'm like, okay, so there is at least 20 to 30 providers in one plaza. You're telling me that it's that many folks at the end of life in California? I just refuse to believe it. I'm just not buying it whatsoever. And then the parking lot just makes me even more suspicious. Like, you're telling me these folks are driving around in all of these luxury cars. You'd have thought they were a bunch of surgeons, like a surgeon convention, the way they have all these nice supercars. You see the BMW, you see the Mercedes. I'm surprised they didn't have, Lamborghinis and Ferraris out there, the way that they're acting. They're not being inconspicuous about their fraud whatsoever. These folks are bold and brazen, and they will not stop until they're held accountable. And that's why we see them so combative against Nick Shirley, because they see that the end is potentially near when Nick Shirley rolls into town. And you could just tell that by that Somali fraudster there with the so-called child care facility, the way that she said that she knew who Nick Shirley was, and she immediately put it up on Facebook. I believe that was a live post of Nick Shirley at the door, and she's saying Nick Shirley's here in California. You guys need to be on your P's and Q's, because he's coming to do the same thing that he did in Minnesota and California. That just lets you know the impact that our friend Nick Shirley has had as a one-man show. I mean, it's just this young guy getting out there, hitting the streets, boots on ground, knocking doors and asking questions. You just gotta love it. That's old-fashioned journalism, getting straight to the point. And these folks just don't like it. They're not used to being confronted by the opposition or folks that want to see the right thing being done at all times. We don't want to see a blatant abuse of our tax dollars. Our tax dollars going to waste. The roads still filled with massive potholes. The city, the budget is so tight because we got so many fraudsters that don't pay their way. There's just sifting and stealing from the system. We cannot continue to allow that. Then I feel like the icing on the cake was the fact that President Donald Trump is now doing something about it. And a lot of folks are saying that we never see any accountability. Kind of moved away from the whole Minnesota Somali fraud topic. I haven't seen it much in the headlines lately, and it just seemed like it was dying down or was never going to be addressed. But good news, President Donald Trump is still vigilant on the fraud, actually tasking J.D. Vance to run this anti-fraud task force. I'm excited to see what they're going to get done there. And the best thing about this is that it's not just specific to California. This isn't just targeting Gavin Newsom's California. It's our entire nation, Minnesota included. They're going to double check and they're going to identify where waste, fraud, and abuse is, similar to what we see in Elon Musk and Doge. But it sounds like this time around, instead of just identifying and cutting it off to the source, they're going to be holding these fraudsters accountable too. It's like music to my ears. Finally, we're seeing someone being held accountable. It's starting to seem like these folks are actually above the law and they're just going to get away with it, you know, stealing all this money from American taxpayers and then shipping it back to their home country and then balling out, having a lavish lifestyle, you know, traveling, eating good, living good. You see their homes, you're seeing their cars. It's just like insane the way these folks come over here and they think that's how you're supposed to live in America, guys. But this is very tip of the iceberg. This is the first drop from Nick Shirley. We've seen it in Minnesota. There were subsequent drops to follow. So I would not be surprised if we have more on the way. When you talk about how much fraud, I believe it was $434 billion in the first couple of weeks inside of California that's been exposed as fraud in these social programs for the people. It's bad. It's really bad. So I can tell there's going to be even more, and I will follow and document, upload, keep you guys updated on what's going on in California and across the nation right here with your boy RetroStef, guys. But now is the time. I want you all to hop in that comment section. Let me know what you're thinking about this one. Nick Shirley doing the Lord's work and actually exposing these fraudsters for who they truly are. You got to tip your cap to Nick Shirley every single time he makes one of these uploads and, you know, just exposes these folks who they truly are. And before you guys get out of here, if you could, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this coming from your boy RetroStef, catch you guys on the next week.